Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Saturday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and freaking early, man. It's 3 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, today I'm going to talk about riding my mountain bike or my bike on the streets and two behaviors that I've noticed from people in vehicles that just drives me crazy. Probably a small percentage of you ride bikes, but I'm sure a larger percentage of you drive cars. So you can relate to this video. So I'm addressing this to everybody. I'm not saying that everybody does this, but I've noticed more and more these two types of specific behaviors that just drive me crazy. Maybe if I make this video, will be more aware of the people on bicycles. Another thing I want to address is I've gotten some comments about how I don't belong on the streets. I should go ride my bike where nobody can see me. Let me start right there. Because like I said, I'll put one of the comments on my thumbnail. I've gotten about a half dozen comments saying that I don't belong on the streets. Streets are for cars. And believe me, I get this feeling every day when I'm out on my bike. Every single day, I swear to God, every single day, people intentionally come close to me or disregard my safety intentionally. I see them looking at me when they do this. And you get a feeling of animosity from people in cars. And I'm going to explain why I belong on the streets just as much as everybody else does. Okay, the reason that I ride on the streets, I have a mountain bike, but I enjoy riding on the streets. And the reason for this is I've made a lot of friends. People have gotten to know me in this city. Almost every time I go to the store, I'll have a stranger come up to me and say, "Hey, I see how many miles? Can I ask you a question?" That's how it always starts. Can I ask you a question? It's somebody I've never even seen before, and I'll be like, sure. And how many miles do you ride on your bike? I see you out there every day in the snow and the rain, and I got to give you props, man. You're out there I swear to God, I get these comments every day, and I make friends. People get to know me. It's nice being part of the community. I might kind of look at myself as antisocial and introverted, but I really do enjoy being out in the community now that at my age, at 58, and people getting to know me and getting some, communication with people instead of riding totally in the woods. I enjoy riding in the woods too. Okay, let me address this now. These two behaviors, and I see this every single day. Let's say I'm coming up to a four-way stop on my bike, and I stop at the stop sign. And another vehicle comes. If I stop and look at the vehicle, they will stop. And then I'll tell them to go ahead. So like, say if I'm going up the hill, say if it's an uphill, I'll tell them to go ahead because going uphill is hard, and I don't want to rush, and I don't trust people when they tell me, I'll get into that in a second, that I don't trust going in front of any vehicles. I'd rather have the vehicles pass in front of me and then I'll go around behind them. I'll intentionally turn behind a car just to get around the back of it instead of going around the front of it because I do not trust people, and I'll talk more about that next. But whenever I stop and I tell the other person, go ahead, I guarantee you they look back at me and then they tell me, no, you go ahead. And I'm like, I don't want to, then I have to hurry up and get on my bike and go up the hill, and the gears start slipping and everything because I'm rushing. But if I stop at the stop sign and then start going through the intersection, the other person won't stop. In other words, if I stop, they stop. If I insist that they go, they insist that I go. But if I am going through the intersection, they'll just ignore me and they'll go through the intersection. They mirror whatever I do. I'm not saying every vehicle does this, but it drives me insane. Why can't these people just stop when they're supposed to stop? If I say go ahead, go ahead. Because and then the people expect me to say thank you, and I just look at them pissed off. Because I say go ahead, and then they say no, go ahead, and then I say, will you go? Just go, so I don't have to rush up the hill in front of you to go in front of you, and I don't trust you in the first place. And they're like, no, you go ahead, and then they start making these angry faces telling me to go. But if I'm moving through the intersection, they ignore me. And then they go through the intersection and almost hit me. Whatever I do, they mirror. I swear to God, I see this every day and it drives me freaking insane. People will do this in cars too. If you pull up to a stop sign and you tell the other person to, go ahead, they'll stop and they'll tell you to go ahead. But if you stop at the stop sign and then start to proceed through the intersection, a lot of times the other person will just roll through their stop sign and almost hit you. They mirror whatever you do, and it drives me freaking insane. Okay, the next thing. People will look right at me. Just 2 days ago, I was going down a hill. I stopped before the stoplight about 30 feet. So I let the car stop at the stoplight, and I'm behind them, and I wait a little ways up the hill. And then when the light turns green, the intersection, the cars go, and the intersection clears out, and I make sure I hit the light still green going down the hill, so I get a little speed. I go through the intersection nice and quick, so I'm not in the intersection when it turns red. And I'm the last one to go through the intersection. So the other day, I let the cars go, and I go down the hill, and I'm going through the intersection. My light's green, and there's a car coming the other way, a car that's coming late to the light. It's still green for both of us. Now, she's turning across my path, and I'm going straight. And she's got a dog in her lap, and she's like 60 years old. And I see her. I'm coming up. I'm coming. We're passing each other, and I see her looking right at me. And then I see her turn the wheel and just hit the gas and start to cut. And not just cut in front of me, but the car comes directly at me. I did a video talking about this. This just happened a month ago with a truck. I had the right of way. I was going down the road, and there's a stop sign with a road that runs into the street that I'm on. And I see the truck coming up to the stop sign. And I'm like, well, he's got a stop sign, so I'm going through the intersection. And the truck just rolls through the intersection and literally stops inches, skids to a stop before it hits me in the legs. It's like, and I see these people looking, it's like I'm invisible. I don't understand this. They look right at me. I don't know if it's because I'm on a bicycle, and like in their minds, they just say, well, I'm just looking for cars. Like does their mind just disregard pedestrians? Like I don't exist, like I'm not made out of actual atoms and material. I'll just disappear if you cut in front of me. Because this happens on a weekly basis, and I see them looking at me, and then they just cut right into my path. Like I could magically stop on a dime, or I'm just going to disappear. Okay, so with this lady, I immediately, when I see this, I'm almost ready for it. And I start to make it an evasive maneuver. I turn away from the car coming straight at me. And she skids to a stop with her dog on her lap. And I go by, she has an open window. And I go right by her window, within 2 feet of her window. And I'm like, whoa, what the F, man? What is wrong with you? I saw you look right at me. And I'm going a good 20. Can they not judge my speed? When they see a bicycle or a motorcycle, does it not register that I'm actually moving? Can they not, is there something wrong with your brains where you can't tell a moving object? I'm doing 20, 30 miles an hour, and they just cut directly in my path. Like I'm not made out of atoms. Like I'm just going to evaporate when they run me over. It's insane. Okay, I'm glad I got that off my chest. Next, I've gotten comments here on YouTube and on Facebook that as a bicyclist, I do not belong on the road. I belong on paths. The road and the streets are for vehicles and trucks and people going to work. And this is mainly Trump supporters. I don't know why this is, but it's mainly Trump supporters that have these comments. I've noticed because I see the same comments from these people. These people are familiar to me. Okay, I belong on the streets just as much as you do. I actually have more rights on the, you're supposed to give the right of way to pedestrians. It's a law. Not only do I belong on the streets, just like people walking, people jogging, people riding their bikes, but I have the right of way over you. You are supposed to stop for me if you were in a car, a truck, a vehicle, or a motorcycle. I am a pedestrian. I have the right of way. And not only that, I pay taxes. I actually own a car. I ride the bike because I enjoy it, but I own a car. I pay taxes. I pay ridiculous taxes on that car. Some of you have brought this. I talked about my car taxes before, and I got comments from people. What's car taxes? Well, here in Connecticut, twice a year, in August and in December, we have to pay our cars assessed. It's a piece of property, and they assign it a value, and we have to pay a percentage of tax on that vehicle. Yeah, this is Connecticut. I love this little blue state, but we're taxed to death here. But I still love it. So I pay this tax. I pay a good $800 a year in car taxes. And not only that, I pay taxes on the gas. Every freaking twice a week that I gas up my car. I pay ridiculous. I don't even know what the car tax is. It's probably like 30 cents a gallon now here in Connecticut. I'm guessing at that. I have lost track. But we are taxed to death here. So yes, my money is paying for the roads. I belong on the roads as much, if not more. I have more rights than you do to be on the road as a pedestrian. So clam up, man. Clam it up. I belong on the road just as much as you do. Thank you for letting me rant, man. And here's the sad thing. I love riding this bike. I love doing it. I love the feeling of the speed. I love being out in the community. I just love it. I love the exercise. I love the rush I get from it. And I can't stop doing it. I won't stop doing it. I've actually replaced my addiction that I used to have with exercise. And I especially love biking because of the speed. I've always, like the rush that I used to get from using, I now get from flying down hills. Seriously. And I just don't see myself stopping. But here's the thing. I know this is going to continue with people cutting into my path. And sooner or later, somebody is going to hurt or kill me. Eventually, that's going to happen. You know, I'm going to ending up in the hospital or worse because of people with these actions, with the way these people are driving on the streets. And I don't want to die. I don't want to end up in the hospital. But I am not going to stop riding my bike either. So please, I'm not asking for anything special. Just see me. Realize that I'm moving. I can't stop on a dime. Just give me as the same courtesy you would give a car or a Mack truck, even though I'm a bicycle. Please. I pay taxes too. Have a good Saturday.